My name is Mike Malone, and this is the Sacristy. We are going to go over, and there's another person helping you. We're going to go over what this is and the purpose of this room. So the person that volunteers here is called the sacristan. One of their jobs is to go ahead and to bring out the sacred vessels that we'll speak about in a minute, and the bread and the wine. They also have to help the priest or deacon do something what's called purifying the vessels. So you'll see that start up at the altar. There's a table there, and you'll see the priest or deacon move their hands this way. They're cleaning out these vessels. When they come back and the sacristan has to start cleaning them, they open up the special sink. It's called the sacrarium. Why it's special is because what the drain in this sink goes down into the earth. What the church says is what goes to God, what comes from God goes back to God. So this sink is called sacrarium. Why it's here and why it's special is because the other sink, all the water goes down into the sewer, and this sink goes down to the earth because what the church says, what comes from God goes back to God. So that's why it goes in there. So the next thing we're going to talk about is going to be some of the sacred vessels. Okay, this is one of the sacred vessels. It's called the chalice, Latin for cup, and this is what the blood of our Lord is drank from. It's made of gold, or sometimes it's gold plated, depending on each parish. It's a little bit different. This larger vessel is called the patens, Latin for plate, and this is what the sacristan puts in the unconsecrated host as brought up during the offertory. After that, for communion to be distributed, it goes into this, which is called a paten. It's a paten again. Well, this one's made, I believe, a pewter and a silver line, and this is where you'll probably receive your first Eucharist will be from this one, a paten similar to this one. And what the deacon or priest does, they distribute the host before they're actually consecrated. So you'll see that at the altar. So now I want to start talking about the sacred vestments, and there's two of them that I'm going to talk about. The first one is called an alb. It's spelled A-L-B. It's what it looks like. Alb is a Latin word, and Latin, the root word is white, because it's white. It is seamless. If anybody attended or listened to Good Friday, when they talk about removing Jesus' tunic, that's what it would have looked like. It looks like this, very similar. Only difference is this has Velcro. They didn't have Velcro back then. But it slips over their head. It's one seamless garment, so it cannot be ripped. So this other sacred vestment that I want to talk about is called a cincture. It's a cord. It's usually made of cotton, and it has two purposes. The first purpose is to keep this from dragging on the ground. This is made of linen, so it's hard to clean and it's expensive. So in order to keep this from dragging on the ground, what the priest or deacon will do is they will take it and roll it up until it's short enough, and they'll tie it around their waist to keep that from dragging on the ground. The other purpose of this, it does have a spiritual meaning. It represents the work and purity of the church. So it does have a meaning besides just a practical use of tying up that garment. Okay.
So the next item we have is the altar cloth. Like a tablecloth you have at your house, the altar cloth covers our table for our Eucharistic prayer. So as you see, we have a red one that symbolizes the Feast of Martyrs that as well as Pentecost and Palm Sunday. Next we have is a purificator. The purificator helps to wipe the chalice after you receive it. Now right now, as we are in COVID, we're not receiving the blood of Christ right now, but the purificator is still there to protect the altar cloth, just like the corporal. The next cloth we use at Mass is called the corporal. Corporal comes from the Latin word for a body, so it covers the table so that if we have a spill on the altar cloth, we don't have to replace the whole altar cloth, but just the corporal. Next is the pyx. You may see people at Mass who receive the communion host in the pyx. The pyx is a holder for the Eucharist for people who are unable to attend Mass. So you'll see people get the communion host and bring it home in a pyx to take to their loved ones who are at home. Next, we're talking about what our clergy wears. The next item is the stole. The stole was used originally to wipe the brow of priests when they were sweating. Now it is used as a sign of the order of priest. The priest wears this when they are doing reconciliation, Mass, or any of their priestly duties. Usually it's the same color as the next item, the chasuble. So our final garment is the chasuble. The chasuble is the last garment the priest puts on and the deacon puts on before celebrating Mass. They are usually the same color as what season we're in as a church. Chasuble comes from the Latin word for little house. As you can see, it's a huge garment that a priest and a deacon wears. At St. Edward's we have two priests, Father Don, our pastor, and Father Maxwell, our parochial vicar. We also have two deacons at our church, Deacon Kevin Hogan and Deacon Bob Ewan. Both of them assist with the baptisms at St. Edward's and assist Father Don and Father Maxwell with serving at our parish.